guys, so this morning I'm going to talk about data, about statistics, about how we interpret them, how sometimes really we can get wrapped up in all of the information that we're provided. And I think it's key for any athlete, perhaps at times, just to take a few steps back and react based on the feedback that the body's giving, as opposed to the statistics provided by Garmin's or other heart rate monitors and devices. Because there is a temptation, I've fallen foul of it before, just to work to those statistics. And within training, especially with endurance, you know, it is essential, and you can't really gauge too much the inner workings of your heart. So, you know, it is a handy tool, but it is just that, it is a tool. It's not something that should be used to work to all of the time. And I think there's an element of self-education and ultimately self-preservation when you utilise these tools to progress your training. Now, I don't know whether you viewing this are aware of my story about when I did the Ironman, but I'd based the majority of my training around working in the lower heart rate zones, as you would for endurance events, despite it being completely opposite to the standard kind of HIIT training, strength conditioning training that I was used to, based around functional fitness, but more quick impact, slow and fast, a mix actually of slow and fast muscle fibres, but probably weighted heavily more towards the strength as opposed to the endurance. And on the day I lost my Garmin, which I was relying on perhaps a little bit too much to give me the feedback to how far to push myself. In an event where you've got, or you could be working 17 hours, you know, and even in longer endurance events, 48 hours, I think there is an element, or it is key, to utilise these tools to ensure that you can sustain yourself for that period of time. However, I think we can at times become restricted and addicted to it. Now, having lost my Garmin, I spent the rest, so 180k on the bike, 42k on the run, reflecting inwards and listening to how I was feeling and checking in. And there is a product which I produced called Body Scan, which allows you to do that, which basically is a guided meditation, guided thought process, which realigns that mind with body. So you can go and check that out. That's available on the website. I'll put the link in the description below. But there is a temptation at times just to rely on the data that's provided and then analyse it based on what we believe is true, not necessarily what is truth. And at times we can become stressed at external factors that have an effect over, you know, the readings and the data. The external environments can have an effect over the readings and the data. And then our belief structure perhaps says that we should follow or reduce or increase activity based on those numbers. And it is a common trait that people fall into, is following the data provided through a little device on your hand, which is connected through data produced from a strap around your chest. And if you think about about it, it's not actually the best. It's going to be the best tool. We're led to believe it is the best tool, and I do believe that they have a place. But I also believe that it's essential that we reflect inwardly and think about how we're feeling as opposed to how we're being told we're feeling. And obviously you can't have a conversation with your heart, your lungs, your gut in the common sense, but you're certainly connected to that. And the body, if you've ever been dehydrated, will know. It can give you really clear signs of what's happening. I was speaking to a guy yesterday, Stu. He gave me some really invaluable advice when I was training. And we were talking about it yesterday, and I was saying that for me, in my world, if you've reached that point of where you're starting to feel those emotions or those feelings, you've already gone past that point. You've already gone past that point of where you should have taken action. Now, your body's highlighting to you at that point because you've not listened, and it's giving you those indications, those warning signs. What I would suggest that people do is listen, really tune into the body and understand what happens before you reach that point. You know, what happens to the body before it needs to give you a warning sign that you're dehydrated, you're fatigued, you're lacking of sugars. You know, what's happening before then? Because when you can then tune into self, when you tune into your body and really listen, really listen, the information provided by heart rate monitors, by training devices, ultimately is secondary. It's a reconfirmation. The primary is listening here, being connected. If you think about it, all it's doing, all this device is doing, is giving you data based on what's happening within you. Your own energy, your own electrical pulses. When you really tune in, you can actually be aware of that energy, aware of that information already. So that's my morning drive recommendation. My belief structure is that perhaps give it a go. Perhaps spend some time just reflecting inwardly on the next few training runs, rides or swims. Avoid the temptation to look at your training device every 2 minutes and using it as a primary feedback mechanism, and listening internally, listening to what's happening within, adjusting pace, speed, hydration, feeding, whatever. Adjust those elements accordingly based on that internal reflection. Just going back very quickly to the 140.6, I held back probably a little bit too much, but that was based on the lack of education, and next time I know what to do, I know what the signs are. So if you are using it as a primary and do decide to make the shift for a short period of time and you think that you're not actually getting as much out of your training sessions, it's only a matter of time before that will adjust. It's only a matter of time before those levels you'll understand and you'll educate yourself well enough to know what that feedback means. Because we all get it, don't we? If you push yourself on a hard run for the days after you're fatigued, you can notice those niggles, those perhaps past injuries flaring up and highlighting themselves. We do stuff before. So that's my recommendation for today. Reflect inwardly. If you need to, use meditation. There is a free sample of my body scan available on the newsletter, so you can go and check that out. That's in the resources area. Head over to the website, subscribe, that's available there. If you want a meditation, then you're going to have to part with some money. That's available on iTunes, or will be shortly, on Downpour, on Blackstone, Audible and audiobooks.com, also available on my website. So head over there, take a look, give it a go. But for now, peace out.